My question is, where's the cameras? That's why I don't see you. Ugh, what the hell is going on? You see the like screen? It's like a thumbnail, and there's no video. That is weird. Remove. Oh, there we go. I just had to remove it. Okay, that's really weird. All right. Well, whatever. I could add the thumbnail later on if it's not on YouTube, you know. But we're live now, and there's already 6 people here. Look at that.
And I don't see it. Hasn't echoed on my end yet. There we go. Now it's streaming.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was here. I guess they were waiting.
Yeah, well, thanks for coordinating this again.
Yes,
Daren.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excuse me. Just had a nice lunch and ready to go deep with some interesting topics for the next hour.
Yeah. And well, I mentioned to you prior, and I'll mention it. Hey, what's going on? I'm Scotty and Ben.
I'm gonna yell out a couple too. Yolanda, Bath Maven.
So maybe I'm not getting all the chat yet. Oh, here they
Millie.
Yeah, now I've seen Bath Maven. Yeah.
And some of it's before we went live too. I think this is all current. Scotty boy. Welcome, okay. Millie, everyone.
Yeah, welcome everybody. And subscribe to all our platforms, and we're streaming on a bunch of different platforms. So I definitely appreciate it. I'll just mention it to you and you tell me where you want to go with it. But I'm going to mention, like I was mentioning to Victor, so I've been noticing it getting more amplified where there's people that are like essentially like being removed if you're not in alignment. Jobs, careers, like whatever.
Oh, just the energies are being amplified, so it's like stronger now.
Yeah, and it's like to the point where you can't even pick up the phone to call that individual if you wanted to, because the force of energy like repelling you is so strong because of the alignment. And it's almost like people are, if they're not on the same frequency as you, it's like they're not even on the planet with you almost, because you can't even touch them if you wanted to.
And you're finding that within this, within our community too, right?
Oh yeah, and I've been to be honest with you, I've been experiencing this since before 2020, like right before 2020, but now so much more intense. And so many people are falling away that I was like over the last year to year and a half doing spiritual work with and close with, and they're just, I can't even. It's like you don't have control. You know, the control is, we have to like release the control, release the attachment, hence I'm fasting. And, I'm noticing we're just having to release everything, like any attachment to everything, I don't know what you think about that or how you're experiencing.
Well, it's actually really good timing because in the last year, I've had 2 very significant groups of mine. And I've seen it with other people that I know. Some of the people here in chat have had recent experiences as well. But 2 very strong groups of mine, groups of people have come together for like 6 to 8 weeks. And it's like every day, exchanging information. And then boom, it's gone. And it just goes, and everybody goes their separate ways. And it's not sad. It's not sad and nobody hates one another. It's just that we come together and do our work, and spirit or source, however you want to look at it, whatever your understanding is, it brings us together, and we do intensively do all the work that we need to do, and we don't even know what it is. Sometimes you come together and you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. We have an idea of what you and I exchange, but do we understand the overall medicine? Maybe not. It may be weeks or years until we understand the medicine of why you and I are together. I think we know, excuse me, I need to swallow. I think we understand the medicine in the short term because, we're bringing people together, getting our messages out, adding a little bit, adding a bit to that higher frequency, adding to that vibrational frequency we're trying to have rise. But I've had two very strong groups. And you start these groups and you're like, oh yeah, well, I'll be friends with these people forever. And then boom, the group disbands and nobody looks over their shoulder. You see, we come together, we appreciate our time, we work hard, sort through a bunch of stuff, and we go our separate ways. And so I know of at least three. Well, one of the groups I know of, not mine, but another one, had a seriously bad player in it. That was manipulating people and things like that on many levels. However, still there's medicine there too. There's always medicine. So,
but I'm feeling it also on a frequency level, where if the alignment aspect of it, you know what I mean? No matter what it is, no matter if it's like that job's not aligning with you anymore and or aligning for your highest good, and with the vision that you hold going forward for your soul purpose or signature, same as a relationship or a group that you're with, is that in alignment with where you're headed or where you're on your way going as your frequency? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting to see and hear, like, not only from my own channel, but like Bashar has said it, like the split, I'm noticing it more like it's a frequency basis of, yeah, that person had something to give, like you said, like medicine, or you had to give, or that group or whatever, or there was some learning experience, but now your frequency has changed.
mm-hmm.
Or theirs has, and they're not in alignment with what you're wanting to achieve or do or going forward. And it's like all about the alignment. I feel like now more than ever, it always has been, but I think it's more evident now. And it's more like we can't, like I was shown a vision, and I was shown this years ago, and then they showed me it again today when I was at the park. And they showed me, like, we can't dip our feet in, we can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out anymore. Like 1 foot in the 3D and then 1 foot in the 5D.
Good. That's a very interesting take. Continue. Right? I'm sorry. Yeah.
So it was like I was shown, like I was gripping onto this mountain, trying to hold on. And it's like we're trying to hold on to these 3D relationships that aren't in alignment with the 5D version of us or the timeline that we're shifting into, and we're being forced almost by, okay, if like you're not in alignment with what you're here to do or you came here to do or whatever the case may be, these things are going to start falling off. Like, oh, this job is creating suffering, so, and you just stay there because it's comfortable. Well, that's no longer serving, right? It's not the highest good anymore, and so it's being dismantled like everything else is, like the systems all around us, I don't know how that resonates with you or not, or anybody on the chat, but
well, I think it does. It definitely resonates with me because I've been going through that, the work especially, because I was corporate for a long time, for 20 years, and then it's like when I left, I never looked back, and I got into I started working for smaller companies, and slowly started working for myself. Because fewer and fewer things resonated with me, and and I see that even in my community, in my greater community of people and channels, and like your channel and Joss's channel and everyone else that I go and visit throughout the day. I even see it in that regard, and I think it's part of that selling the. We're going to get a little bit on the conspiracy side here now.
That's fine.
It's the deep state is having a problem selling their product is what it comes down to, because people are seeing through it. The veil is lifting on so many things. People are having these amazing spiritual experiences, these awakenings. They're having these wonderful awakenings, and it's not vibing so much for people to go and do 9 to 5s any longer. And a lot of those 9 to 5s are disappearing as well. A lot of jobs are disappearing. And then now what? It's like, now what? And I think the days of living in fear are over because wow, the powers that be can't even get a good pandemic startup now. Have you
Mm-hmm.
noticed that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And they take little jabs. Oh, let's go kill 150 million chickens to cause this to be a problem. And people are freaking fed up. People are seeing through it. They're
Mm-hmm.
waking up, they're fed up. And I think every time we see through one of these or one of these little plans fails, that keeps the vibration from taking a dip. Because every time one of these little shenanigans or this or that fails or is uncovered, what's that going to do? That's going to increase the vibrational frequency of our planet, which helps all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw something else in. I watched a
Yeah.
video about China the other day, and there's a lady, can't remember her name, but she's a naturalized citizen to the United States from China,
Mm-hmm.
speaks very good English. But she gives China reports about the current status of China and this and that, and showed some Chinese social media, and people are like in the 6 major cities in China, and people are like, "Where's everyone at? Where are all the people?" Like literally missing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Hey, yeah, this time last year, this was bustling until 2 or 3 in the morning." And they're like, "There's no one here." And then this one fellow in the social media even contacted a cousin or something and was like, his cousin who lived out in the country was like, "People aren't out here. They're not here. So where are they?" And then somebody said, excuse me, "Well, maybe they have migrated, they immigrated somewhere else." And I think that number, wow, that number is around 2 million of Chinese have immigrated throughout the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't count for. So what that comes around and says is that China may only have where she got with this, where her endpoint was, they only may have like 850 million population.
Mm-hmm.
So they're missing between all the shenanigans going on with the pandemics and all this other stuff. They're missing like 500 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. And
Yeah.
and yeah, that kind of cuts off. Yeah, Ben. That kind of and if you guys have any questions about this topic, be sure to throw it in there. I'm
Yeah.
sure and we'll do our best shot at it. Or something you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You better take it for a moment.
No, I mean, what I'm, yeah, it's just like, I mean, well, recently I listened to one of Char's like timeline split uh, things that he's talking about, that Bashar came through and spoke of, and it is what, well, before I even experienced that, it was like, this is the same exact thing I was trying to talk to my father about before 2022, before he passed. And it's almost like a lot of people will say, you can't take someone with you on the elevator. You're not going to be able to bring them with you. Yet they're going to go, but there's a massive um, shift in the frequency where I am feeling like this split is really amplifying, I guess you could say. And I'm noticing it when I go around, and like you just said, it's the same thing. There's people aren't around. They're not. There's um, everyone's going through something, whether they're going through a similar thing or something different, but it's the same thing, just a different story. And um, just to reiterate what I said before, or kind of elaborate on it, when I said about the gripping on, um, it was like I experienced when I was mentioning told you about the Kundalini awakening.
Mm-hmm.
My whole body was like shaking, and I was freezing cold. And I had this happen to me a couple years ago. It's like probably multiple awakenings now, and I was laying there and I could not get warm. I got these hot hands, and I put them in my hands, and I could not warm my body up fast enough, and yet I'm like clinching, and I remember Luna like telling me, no, you gotta let go, you can't, you don't want to, so like the longer I tried to control, the
Mm-hmm.
longer it continued to play out. The moment when I said I'm surrendering and letting go, it started to ease up, and dissipate.
Interesting.
And it was like a metaphor too for me as to how I need to let go. And not that I'm holding on to anything, because I've detached from so many things in my life, like over the years already. But it was almost like I was getting a insight to the collective, and where the collective is at. And just in talking to people, that how they're like saying, well, this mouse has sentimental value to me, I can't let go of it, but yet you can't take this stuff with you. And that's the one biggest thing that I received from my dad, a gift, watching, leaving everything behind, and when he tried to control everything. And so yeah, it's a big theme right now for 2025, because the 5D is all about like love, not attachment. And I tried to explain this many, many times, because there's a difference between having attachment and love for someone or something. You know what I mean? Like, attachment aspect of it creates the suffering. But I can have love for you, but not attachment. And then if you disappear, or I have to go, or whatever, for whatever reason, there's no suffering, right?
All right.
There's just, I have love for you. You have love for me, and that's all of it. And that's like the 5D way.
Well, you know what? And also, our love is not going to die just because we stop communicating. It still exists.
No.
Yeah. I want to just roll us back a couple minutes, because Ben wrote something in chat that says, "Do you think the powers that be, the PTBs, will become more desperate?" And Scotty Boy said, "A cornered animal will attack." See, I think I'm going to give you my 2 cents.
Yeah, go ahead.
From an energetic point of view, I think the deep state, I think they're on their last leg. I think they're on. I think most of it has been taken care of, and there's a little bit out of it here and there, but I think it's on its last leg. I think we're getting closer and closer every second. We are getting closer and closer to having that big moment where a bunch of people come, or a bunch of people just wake up. We're going to have that big moment of ascension. That's the right way to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The grand awakening. I think we're imminent, is the way I see it.
I mean, everyone keeps saying the flash is going to wake everybody up, this big flash, which a lot of people predicting springtime, and I can tell you this, like, from what I keep hearing from all these different people in the spiritual community, and one of the people I listen to, if you haven't heard of him, Ishmael Perez, and he channels the galactic, they changed it to galactic. He says they changed it to Galactic Association, or I don't know, something like that, from the Galactic Federation. I don't really resonate with that part of it, but everything else he says that we've won already, that all the technologies are coming, the banking systems are already, I don't really know if I want to say it on here, but you know what I mean, like the word like dismantle, I don't know.
That's getting into the Nasera Jacera stuff.
Yeah. And he goes into all of it. It's already it's just, we're just waiting for the dominoes to fall, like that files to come out. And then the next phase, the files that they still haven't released, and it's just like, honestly, man, I've seen this since I was a little kid, and I'm just like frustrated and getting impatient, because I'm like, when is this going to unfold? But I understand at the same time the way where humanity, majority of humanity that is not awake, where they are at, if it was all just like flooded out, I mean, they would lose it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it has to be slowly pieced, like breadcrumbed.
It's a 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
That 3 to 5% that there's going to be that UFO land, and they're like, no, that's not a UFO. That's a tractor that flies in the sky.
Yeah.
That's not an alien. That's somebody dressed up in a suit, or they're just not capable of seeing it.
Not capable of seeing it, not capable of, because there's still a very large majority that watch the mainstream and they believe everything, and they're like, oh well, the mainstream said this, oh well, the mainstream said that. It's like, oh, the West said this, like like it's almost like they're God or something. Like, well, everyone is God. I understand that. I believe that, but at the same time, where they're at, they're not. It's not from the heart-centered love. It's just, oh, I was told to read this script. Type,
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, it's not. And forms of programming and brainwashing and everything else that we've experienced for thousands of years.
I think Millie nails it. It's a slow drip.
Yeah, it's
It's a
slow.
slow drip.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, and for a lot of us. I mean, I know for me, for sure. I mean, a lot of light workers and everything are like, let's go. Open the floodgates, because like I already know. I'm not. None of this stuff's going to surprise me.
Yeah, and Scotty asked that awesome question. What about the split they talk about? You want to talk about that for a moment, Daren?
Yeah, that's what I was just referring to.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, it's about frequency for one thing, and the second thing is it's like the 3D and the 5D. So which one? So at one point, it's happening already, and like they talk about the rapture and the splits and all this different stuff. Well, the split is essentially splitting from the 3D to the 5D and choosing which route you want to take, which timeline you want to go on. And we're all raising our frequency, we're all raising our vibration regardless. We're all going to go. And all it really is, and again, everyone speaks like even Dolores Cannon, it's not us going to another planet. The Earth is already here. It's just on a higher,
Frequency.
yes, it's just a different frequency. Now we're raising up so that we can reach that frequency to be in that new Earth reality, so to speak. So the split is imminent and it's happening, and you could feel it, and you could feel. And let me explain it a little bit quicker and a little bit easier understanding. It's like what I just explained with like an individual that, let's say they reach out to me, and then I try to reach back out to them, and they don't respond. And then if I try to call or I try to do this, almost like you're forced, it's almost like two magnets. And I've always talked about it like this. They've explained it to me like two magnets, and you're trying to push them together the opposite way. And you know how like you're trying to force it, but you can't put them. They won't stick. If you've ever done that with a magnet or anybody else.
Sure.
That's what it's like. And if you could feel it, and I could feel like I want to reach out to this person, but I can't. There's some energy, almost like a wall, invisible wall, like blocking you. And they're here, but yet they're not, because they're on a different frequency. They're not in alignment with you. So it's happening more and more, the split, where if someone or something is not in alignment with you, you're being split apart. Like they're on another planet and they're not even here anymore, but they actually are. And they could be like 10 minutes away, and you'll never see them. You'll never cross paths with them. Yeah, it's like you're quite literally on another planet,
Yeah, in a sense we are, because we could have already lost people. We in our reality, Daren, we could have already lost people that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
Maybe they get completely wiped out from us.
Mm-hmm.
And who just asked this? Millie says, Victor, Daren, what do you feel about? Yeah, see, some people in the spiritual community don't see, because I think I have this little anchoring, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but I don't understand, because we have people in the spiritual community. I see them every day, and they're sitting here talking love, talking light, and they're on the path and spreading good tidings to everyone in chat. But then they go super political, and they've got so much of the H word in them for this one individual, because they've been told to hate this individual. Oh, I just actually said the word. I haven't said that word in freaking eight months. And I just did right here with you, Daren, and all our friends. Okay, so I'd like to just remove that word from my lexicon. However, that's my big area of understanding, because I typically hold spiritual people at a higher bar than I do just the normies. And then you get to talking with one of them, getting to know them, and you're doing some fun work, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I'm super politicized," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," because that to me represents a lower frequency thing
Yeah,
that you need to get rid of.
yeah, and separation too. You know, it's all about divide. You know, the way it's
Mhm.
been put out there. You know, it's extremely it's it was created just like religion. It's no different. You know, I feel anyway. I feel that it's all been um, manipulated in a way to literally separate people and divide people, and you know, and then you're separate from source, and then you're in those lower frequencies and vibrations of fear. I think that we are going to rid the 3D. I've heard channelers say that we're not, and we will never, and I don't believe that. I literally believe that as we continue to awaken and all of humanity wakes up, which will happen.
See, I think I'm going to disagree with you there.
I think all of humanity is going to wake up.
I think, I think that, I think there's going to be some that will remain to hold the duality until we go through. You follow me?
But hear how I come to this conclusion and what they showed me.
Oh, sure, we can discuss it. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you.
No. I
just
want. Yeah. No, just it's very interesting because maybe the way I said
wait.
it.
I'm disagreeing with you. I'm not invalidating you. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But what I feel like, and I say this eventually, okay, because what'll happen is as more and more people wake up and they start teaching the kids consciously, right? So now the kids are growing up and they're conscious, and then the ones that are not awake will eventually transition and pass on, right? So now, as this cycle keeps happening, eventually there can't be more. The it can't be. We're changing. We're shifting out of that programming of the schools, and because now we have new
Mhm.
school systems, and you see what I'm saying? Like I see like so far ahead. I'm talking. This could be like it could be like 50 years from now or 100 years. I don't know. Could be longer than that, but eventually, everyone it will be an awakened planet because of the cycle of the ones that aren't any longer and refuse to will eventually pass on, you know?
Oh, so you're saying over time?
Time, yes.
Okay, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it more of like as a window being opened or a veil going like this. That my previous group was looking at it like, well, if we still need dark, so these people are basically holding the dark for us so we can ascend. So they love us enough as souls to give us that gift of ascension. They incarnated to come and hold the dark
Mm.
at a certain level. So yeah, they're not going to go with us.
Yeah.
That core group, that 3 to 5% that
Yeah.
can't get it. Maybe those are they. Even in the UFO community, what do they say? 4 to 6% are never going to believe that UFOs land on the White House lawn. And it's along those lines. And maybe they're the same group of people, that 4 to 6% that just don't get it. And we were looking at it. So you have that duality until you don't need it, because where we're going, we're not going to have that
No,
duality.
yeah, that's what I mean. And that's how we're going to, like, it's going to just fall away.
No, it sounds like semantics almost in a way of,
Yeah.
of our understanding.
Yeah, and it's going to it's going to eventually fall away. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to the planet is going to be at a higher frequency. Humanity is going to be at a higher frequency, and you know what I mean. And like eventually, over time, yeah, we're everyone, the whole planet's going to be awake because we're going to be choosing different things. Different things are going to be slow dripped, like one of the people said on the chat, you know. And eventually, like other things, like oh yeah, like now Reiki's starting to come more into the mainstream, you know, or you know what I mean. And eventually, you know, people will start eating healthier. These restaurants that aren't serving such great stuff will start serving from love. You know what I mean? It's a
Well,
process.
look at how things have changed. I don't know how much you've been into UFO stuff. I don't know how deep you've been in it, but look how much just in the last 25 years, if something came, any UFO stuff was on the news, then you'd have some schmuck on there debunking, oh no, that's not real. And of course they're paid by whomever in the government.
Yeah.
Debunk. And now you're hearing people talk about the UAPs and things like that. And I
Yeah.
don't like the whole renaming things. I don't like that. I just I'll stick with UFOs because somebody in the government tried to rename them. And I'm always leery of that when the government tries to rebrand something because it's usually, well, regardless. But think about how now these things are mainstream. Now you can talk about
Yeah.
UFOs like
Yeah.
we are right now.
Yes.
Because if we had the internet 25 years ago, or at least had this platform, we may just speak about them, but not get too woo woo about them. If that makes any sense, we'd have to be very scientific, Darren, about it, and not get too, oh yeah, well, I saw this one outside, and we couldn't be laissez-faire about it. We'd have to be maybe kind of a little bit more crunchy with it, showing our pictures or showing our data and showing that aspect of it. Scotty, is that a question in this go around or the next? Is that a question or is that a statement? I think it's going to happen soon.
I do too. I really do. I'm just like really questioning this whole thing with the lists and them holding back, and the game with that. I understand though. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe they don't really have one, or maybe they do, or I don't know. Like I know it's out there, and I know it's gotten out on the internet, but I'm talking releasing to the mainstream, and I still do believe in divine timing and divine orchestration.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is the truth. I'm all about the truth. That's the name of my channel, and the truth is going to set us free. So
Yes.
as more and more of the truth, it may be hard to swallow, maybe a bitter pill, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when this stuff comes out, yeah, it may kind of kick us in the teeth a couple times, but think about the vibration that's going to come out of it, the higher vibration,
Oh yeah.
knowing that this stuff has been, this global corruption has
Mhm.
now been defeated, and all these trafficking places have been closed. Because every time you close one of those places, and I've said this before too, the vibrational frequency will increase, because it's
Mhm.
just every little bit of good. We spoke about that on my sunrise. Every little bit, every little bit.
Yep.
Just walking around with a smile, every little bit helps. Just
Yeah.
adds that much more.
But
Because
did you ever like? I'm glad that you just said that, because like I want to ask you this question, because it's like I just wondered this since I was like a little kid, and I just wonder how everybody else feels. Did you like, before you woke up, did you ever question, like maybe let's say in your like 20s or whatever, early 20s even, like there's got to be more to this than I've been told.
yes, yeah, oh yeah, I've been doing that. Well, I was kind of into UFOs starting at a very young age, probably 8 or 9. Yeah, so that's kind of when I got on the bandwagon.
Well, yeah, but also like there's got to be more than just going to a 9 to 5 and clocking in and going home and eating,
Oh,
that type of thing. Like I don't understand the the thought behind that, like majority of society, because I thought to myself many times, I'm like, if everybody just came together and walked out of these systems, like this whole place would change, and we have more people than we do the people that are the corrupted ones.
oh, sure, sure. But the thing is look at the programming, because Josh is here in the chat somewhere. He always talks about tell lies vision. And
Mm.
what do they call it? Programs. Oh, you're going to watch your program tonight?
Yes, yes.
And think about it. We were raised on this stuff, man.
Uh,
And hey, I'm going to go home and watch my program, not even thinking about it in a computer sense of being programmed. So it's pretty nefarious stuff when you start breaking it all down. And I suggest everyone break out of that 9 to 5 as often as as often as they can step out of it, is do so.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason I have my meditations are 12 hours apart. So I live my life in 12-hour increments now instead of 9 to 5 and doing it a specific way. And so I had to do something that would break me out of it. And it was a little bit difficult when I first started doubling up. And I've been doubled up now about 4 months, 5 maybe. And now it's just it's like it's clockwork now.
Yeah.
Clockwork. Yeah.
I mean, well, I broke out of it like back in 2000, like 99 or something like that.
Oh, so you're pretty early then.
Yeah, like talking. Yeah, I started a computer IT business, and but prior to that, I worked at all kinds of jobs, and I like computer companies and corporations and all this kind of stuff, and like the shit never resonated with me. And nor did it not resonate with me, but I had massive anxiety when driving to the job, and like just didn't last more than like 5-6 months, bounced around to one from another, maybe a year here, 6 months here, like and like I was finally just like, nah man, I can't do this, man. And so yeah, I started like just putting flyers around in the neighborhood to build the business, and I started connecting, and oh, you want to do like a speech over here and at this clubhouse, and this was in South Florida, and oh, you want to do a speech at this clubhouse for these men's club, and I did that, and then that spawned into like big companies that I was doing business for, anyways. Yeah, I never really, so I've always been on like my own time, like literally would just, oh, my parents want to go out of the country for like 2 weeks. Oh, let's go, let's do it. And I just picked up and would do it. You know what I mean? Like, I just never really, yeah, but I was always had that ups and downs with the financial stuff, it was never really, 1 month it was really good, then the next month it wasn't so great, and you're catching up from the previous month, type thing. And it always never made sense to me, man. The imbalance of society, and like you have people making $50 million in sports a year, and then someone making $1 at a restaurant, like the whole thing just never, it's such an imbalance, and it just bleeds corruption,
Yeah. Well, it's a system. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's a system I think that is very geared towards keeping, and it doesn't say that, but it's very geared towards keeping the people that play the game, that want to play the game the right way. And sometimes, unfortunately, in some industries, it means getting on a casting couch. In other industries, it means sacrificing your body for a couple $1 million a year. Because they get paid, the athletes get paid very well, but in some sports, they have like a 2 or 3 year shelf life in them. Mm-hmm. And for a game, especially football players, most likely if they're in the NFL, they played 3 or 4 years in college, and see now even the massive sports industry are taking a hit because people are not entertained by it anymore, because it's like, it's just the greed, and just it's kind of lost its appeal to people because people are seeing through it. And apparently a lot, even down in the college level, a lot of games we're finding out are completely rigged, rigged. So it takes the enjoyment out of it. It takes the enjoyment out of the actual competition, and players jumping from team to team to team every year. Oh, that's a bit of a rabbit hole. I see my director wanted some attention.
But wouldn't you say the same thing though for somebody like at one of these positions? Like let's like a fast food place. Okay, let's use, right? And they're living paycheck to paycheck and barely even making ends meet, right? And have to work like 3 jobs and 80 hours a week. They're not in alignment whatsoever with what they're doing. They most likely hate everything they're doing, which is then creating disease in their body. So it's kind of like the same thing, like, oh, this guy is on the field making millions, maybe only has 3 years, and but like the person at one of these most people at a lot of these minimum wage positions are stressed out beyond belief, working like 80 hours a week. Like why as a soul would you even choose to come here to do that?
Yeah, but
Why?
see, but who are you to ask that question?
Mm,
You see, that's where I go, because everything, think about it. We are the sum, sitting here right now. We are the sum of our both deemed positive and deemed negative experiences. But if you take it up high enough as an entity, that, you know, the crystalline entities that we are, we come down here, have these experiences, take on these bodies, so we can get bit on the back of the neck, so we can eat, so we can have conversations like this, experience breathing, tasting, making love, running, physical activity. But it's but you see, where I'm going with that is all those experiences are just as important as the other. Because why is that a more valuable experience to be a professional athlete? You see where I'm going with this?
yeah, but do you believe that it's supposed to be the way that it's supposed to be? Like the game, like this corrupted and this like for our evolution, for our expansion, or I mean, because you know, a lot say it's an illusion, and it's not there's not really suffering, you know. So do you feel that's the thing that I guess I get stuck with. I know that we contracted certain experiences as a soul to experience, and a lot of it have to do with what we experienced in previous lives, and now we're needing to experience the other side of it. That's another form that like Dolores Cannon talks about. Um, so yeah, I guess my question to you is like, so if we're coming down to experience all of that, right, then are we coming down as well to experience these really dense fear energies or frequencies, or you know do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
definitely do. I would say yes. Yes, because these are all part of our experiences. Even this, even our ascension is part of our experiences. And this is kind of a spoiler, because you start thinking in the big picture. We signed up for every bit of this. We signed
yeah,
up for every bit of this experience.
yeah, I believe that.
And and you do not believe that? Or
No, I
you
do.
do?
I do.
Okay. So even this ascension that we're on, and this soul experience, the soul experience is part of what we signed up to have. So we signed up to come down here, incarnate, have all this esoteric knowledge, have these kind of discoveries to enhance this experience, to enhance this incarnation. If you think about it, in our crystalline forms, in our highest form, all right, and we're just like these super intelligences. What we would do, if you think about it, what would we do as super intelligences? We would create scenarios for us to go have experiences. You see
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You see where, so at the highest level, what would we do to prove our usefulness? What would be the purpose of our life? Well, we'd come have experiences on this planet, and oh, we're going to go do this next and do this. And it's basically our existence is coming and having experiences. And this is higher than all the aliens. And, like next time, hell, in a previous incarnation, everyone in this chat could have been part of some Arcturian family or something, you see? So it's above them. It's above everything. It's just, what do we incarnate with or as next time? And let's talk about the soul trap. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah.
And see,
A lot of people say it's been lifted, but even ever existed.
let's see, I look at it differently. Maybe it's been lifted because maybe we're at the end of our series of incarnations, because this is just not one and done. Perhaps we've lived 1,000 lives, and you and I have known each other in 900 of them. To say we've interacted to get right here to this point. And we've known Millie, we've known Ben, we've known Scotty, we've known Neil, we've known Josh, and Bath Maven, and
That's part of
Millie.
what you're saying too, with like the part of like we're at the end of
Our series.
well also at the end of like where we don't need to be in these lower frequencies any longer, and we can still enjoy the 3D aspect, but in higher frequencies from love, not fear. Like I heard this woman say it so profoundly, and I think I'm gonna definitely send you the video on YouTube. And she said that we've already learned from fear. We don't need to learn from fear anymore. And I heard this from a friend of mine that I was doing a podcast with a couple years ago, and he said, "But Daren, we don't need to learn from. We don't have to learn anymore. Like we can. It can be still from love. You don't have to suffer to learn." And that woman was saying that we've already, through thousands of lives, we've already experienced through fear, and now we're moving to, and that's why they call this like the golden age and the age of love and the Aquarian age, because now we're getting to the point where we don't need to learn that way anymore. We're transcending fear, so to speak.
Because is not fear the opposite of love?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad that we're moving into this this new aspect, and I've been waiting for it for about 8 years.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. And I think we've all been waiting for lifetimes, and, you know, yeah, I guess it's always been a learning process, but the difference is, like a lot of people are saying also, is that we're realizing that we are God in human form. And we're realizing that we can create our reality, and we're realizing that how um, um, to be as conscious as we are now and going forward and in the human experience is insane. I mean, because you think about it, when we were cavemen or any of these other experiences, man, we weren't conscious. Now we're actually conscious and making conscious decisions and actions, and that's what I mean by over time.
Mm-hmm.
The more and more people wake up, and the more and more you start realizing that your actions and your words, how powerful they're. I mean, 20 years ago, we didn't realize how powerful our words are. You know what I mean? Or we weren't conscious of what we were doing on a daily basis, and now that's actually impacting. But I mean, to be honest, I know this. A lot of people don't want to hear it, and it's hard to hear. But like, and I want to know your insight on it. Like, do you believe and do you think that we have contributed to where we're at, all of us, in many lifetimes?
Oh, like it built up and built up and built up. Certainly.
Yeah, we played where we are right now, all of us in different lifetimes, but we are unconscious to it.
Right.
So when people say, well, the systems are this and that, like we all contributed to it, and it's like it's all happened for us and by us, but we just weren't conscious at the time, and now we are conscious of it, and now we're like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to experience that again. Like, oh, I know I touched the hot stove, but like I'm not touching that thing again because I know it burned me. You know what I mean? Like it's like a whole different world now because we're like conscious of the actions we're taking and the things we're doing and the decisions we're making, and realizing that we're making impact.
Okay, sorry, I had a lag spike there. Yeah, I think Ben had a question here. If I can see if I can find it.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of questions in here, and and I'm trying to keep up with all the. I had enough of drama. Yolanda said, "I have enough of drama. If to watch any drama, I would go visit family for free." Yeah, I hear you about that.
Let's see. Millie's talking about being in corporate for 15 years, and that's one thing. You think about our college system in the United States. It teaches you how to be a good corporate citizen. At least my experience, it did. It taught me, having a business degree, taught me how to be a good corporate citizen. Hey, it's going to be this way, and you're going to be able to apply this and this piece of knowledge. And for the most part, it was in lockstep, almost. I wouldn't say exactly, but Ben is doing some really interesting experiments. I'm going to bring it up. I'm not going to tell you specifically what he's doing, but I don't know if you've noticed this the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, Ben, but people are getting lasers and shining them on their walls inside their houses. Like those leveling lasers that you see on construction sites. Do you know what those are?
The little things, like sometimes you would use them with the cat. And
No, not well, similar technology, but these leveling lasers, you set them up in the middle of the room and you can draw a chalk line. It basically levels. If you were going to put a line around the room, it will draw a line. Well, it's not going to draw it. It's just going to put a laser against the wall.
You
follow me?
Yeah.
It shoots out in every direction.
Yeah.
But there's a technique that if you get up, I will have to have Ben on next time too, and he can give you the whole enchilada. But if you get up and you kind of squint up against the wall, when that laser's hitting the wall, you'll begin to see symbols within that laser. It's really super interesting.
Dang.
What's that?
I said, no, interesting. Wow.
And he's been sharing some of his work, some of his pictures. Because he's getting symbols off of it when he does this, and he's writing and he's copying them. He's putting the symbols down. And I think we're supposed to have a meeting about this sometime, but I think what we're going to try to do is put them into Grok and see if they're known symbols or if we can figure anything out about them. And of course, ask other people doing these experiments, excuse me, to share their symbols. I think it would be amazing because I'm kind of leaning. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I wonder if it's like light language or, sacred geometry or something of that nature,
Well, maybe what he's seeing is he's seeing a signature. He's seeing the material signature of wood, or he's seeing the material signature of paint, or because he's looking in there and let's see, Ben may have stepped out.
I thought a few times, a bunch of times actually.
But so like everything that we encounter through our day could have its own specific code of symbols. And Josh said something. Keep in mind that scientists found digital code at the edge of known universe. Wow. Yeah, it's getting a little. Hey, Grace, thank you for coming by, Grace. And if I haven't spoken to you, Yolanda, thank you for coming by. Oh yeah, Ben is there. Okay, but he would be. I'll chat him up and see if he would be game to come on and talk about that next time we meet. If that's something you would like to bring in,
that'd be cool. I think that so many things are being revealed now that we're tired of the suppression, and it almost felt like to me for majority of my experience here, especially when I was living in Florida, how everybody kept everything a secret, and it was just like, I would be like, whatever, there's all these people in like $10 million homes, and, they don't really disclose what they do or how they achieved what they did, or everything was like very secretive, and I feel like the dusting under the rug, and that goes up to like these big systems like the government and everything. It funnels everywhere because it's just a mirror anyway. And I just feel like the way things were, because a lot of us were born into it in this lifetime. Not to say we didn't play a role in it in a previous lifetime, but in this lifetime, a lot of us were born into it already. And I just feel like humanity's getting tired of, this form of divide and separation, and
sure,
we're coming back to community love, and if we all brought everything together and came together like this that's what I've always thought about, man. If everybody just came together, man, we would change this planet in an instant. And I know I too with the programming and stuff, I get it completely, because I know people, even family around me that slowly but surely I'm chipping away at it. You know what I mean? Like, my mom is changing, man. And you're planting the seeds. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not having any expectations. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and the thing is it's like what we do over at my place. We put the energy and intention out there, and so when those people make that conscious decision, when they're ready to go, as I like to say, when they're ready to go, then and embrace the path or embrace the next vibrational frequency, then we're there to nourish them and help them and assist them. No, Millie, I am currently not simulcasting the roundtable to Rumble, just X and of course Facebook, YouTube, excuse me. But I will be next time. Send it to Rumble. Yeah, so
Interesting, because you know, I yeah, I feel like all this stuff, even like what Mr. T is coming out with, it's like the rug, and I said this before, and I don't know if I said it on here or not. The rug has gotten so big, like a garbage dump mountain, that we've been dusting under, and it's like like the BANK systems, for example, and how that doesn't even make a bit of sense, Oh yeah, I'm gonna put this in here. I've talked about this before. Money in here, and then they're gonna then lend it out for like quadruple, whatever, and I get absolutely nothing out of it. And like the whole damn thing is corrupt and doesn't make a bit of a sense, but yet we continue to function with it, and this parts that I don't understand.
I think it's coming to a head because now with USAID coming out, or this USAID thing debacle, and you're finding out that one of the political parties in our country was basically funded by that, and all this money to go into people's cronies and paying people off here and paying people off there. And I told one of my friends yesterday, I said, shoot, I should have started an NGO freaking 20 years ago. I'd be a multi-gajillionaire, but but then you have to be able to live with yourself of stealing taxpayer money.
Yeah.
But we're working hard, working 9 to 5. They keep us in our matrix, work. And if you don't pay your taxes, boy, your butt's going to jail, and the IRS is going to come still take everything from you. Oh, so they're going to come take what little I have that's been taxed so many times, that dollar in your pocket that's been taxed 100 times just today on everything I've used it on. But think about this as this is revealed. Think about the vibrational frequency that's going to be released, because we're going to come out of oppression, out of oppressive tax system. And some people are going to say, oh, well, Victor, it's not too bad. I don't mind paying taxes. I don't mind paying taxes either. However, I think we're going to discover that they can be far lower for us to have even at the current level of services we receive. I bet you the taxes could be a lot lower. That's where I'm gonna throw that out there right now, because we're sitting here working, getting taxed. So these politicians can grift it all away and send it to all these other countries. Hey, who's sending us money? Who's taxing their people and sending us money?
Yeah, but it's also putting in pockets too, and that's the whole thing, that we don't even have it's like, an ingredients in food that's at the store. You know what I mean? You don't know if that's really what is in the product that you're eating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Transparency, it goes back to the same exact thing, that they're just lining their pockets. You know what I mean? And all these things, because they're so big, there's no accountability, and then people get greedy and they just manipulate, and I don't even think they even realize what they're doing, because I don't think at that point you're so disconnected from source, because I don't believe that you came here to just, to me, that's like service to self. That's not service to others, right? And I don't think we were meant to come here and be service to self
in a selfish way. Yeah, you're not meant to be selfish.
And I mean, like, what I mean by that is like you gaining, like, you have 20 cars and a mansion that has like 50 bedrooms and like all this kind of stuff. Like, what for? You know what I mean? Like, there's no, I don't even feel that's balance, and again, people argue with that, like, this is America and blah, blah, blah and stuff like that. But I feel like it's greed if you're at that point,
Sure.
And I feel like when is enough?
Because really the only vehicle that you need multiple of, that maybe 3 or 4, are motorcycles.
Yeah, I mean,
when it comes down to it, you have a street bike, have a dirt bike, have a sidecar motorcycle, maybe some other contraption, or another 2-player one.
But again, we're getting to the point, man, where the solar flare, like a lot of people talk about, the solar flash is going to activate all our strands of DNA, right?
Bring it.
And then we can freaking manifest anything we want instantaneously. We don't need money. We don't need anything. We can literally manifest anything we want instantaneously. We already probably could do it, but we were suppressed from all of this, and on top of all the things that were being suppressed with, like the spraying, and what I'm talking about, the things in the water, the things in the sky, all this stuff. I'm gonna just say it like that for the sake of YouTube.
Sure.
But I think that I know that we're gonna be able to do all of this stuff. Like, we don't need it. Like, we're so powerful. These physical vessels we have, and we can. I don't want to use that word either, because again, that's another, the HEAL word. I know is another one that they'll flag on. So it's like, we can do that too. It's like, but we're told that we have to get these pills and type. What I'm saying? Like, it's where we're headed is so amazing, but it's like, when? That's, I think, the biggest question everyone has. Like, when is this? Come on, man, unfold already.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you inviting me on to the round table again.
I
want to thank everyone for coming over and bringing. Hey, Josh, can you bring me a Frosty, dude? There you go. He's on a Wendy's DoorDash. Frosty sounds good, but I want to thank everybody for coming by, and
thank you, man.
Thanks again for setting this up, Daren.
Thank you, man. I love, this is awesome, man. But whether you agree or I don't agree, or you agree and vice versa, it's like expanding our consciousness, opening our minds, and hey, I'm all about it, man.
Yeah, me too. And think about, most of the times we're meshing, and I'm not coming here just to be conciliatory or something, but it is really, it's interesting to get other people's perspectives, especially in the spiritual community, because we're all coming together right now. We're all, this great awakening is happening, and so many people and so many modalities are coming together and converging. And it's 13:33 on my computer right now.
Yeah, man. And we just, we want to understand thing, and I'm a truth seeker, just like your channel, man. I've been that way since I was a kid, so I'm all about finding the truth and understanding and uncovering the secrets of the universe.
All right, I like that.
Yeah. So thank you, man. I appreciate you, man, and you're a beautiful soul, man, and everybody.
So are you.
So much, man.
All right, brother. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you sometime next week.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Namaste.